time period, they're the ones who created the Vatican. They're the ones who created the hierarchy systems. So these hierarchy systems that we see came from the reptilians and the Greys. I think they talked about this one dude, I can't think of his name, but they said they call him the Gray Pope. He is an actual Gray. Okay? So now it makes sense to me as to how they were able to survive this long. When I touched the Pyramid of the Moon, I sensed a strong Anunnaki presence that was there when I touched the Pyramid of the Moon. And I had asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. I told him, I said, I'm picking up on a strong Anunnaki influence over this Pyramid of the Moon. I said, could you tell me if in fact that the Anunnaki were present during that time period? He smiled at me. He was like, yeah. And it was funny because when we were on this tour, you had a few people that were there in their self-entitlement bullshit, and they were just there just to take pictures, just to say, I've been there. I went there because I strictly wanted to learn, and I wanted to tap into the ancestry. So what I started finding out was that the Anunnaki, in fact, did have a major influence as far as the structures. They had an influence. So the Anunnaki are pretty much anywhere that you're going to see pyramid structures and things of that nature, you can best believe the Anunnaki is going to be a part of that. Somewhere in the bloodline, the Anunnaki has something to do with that. So they've been around. They are your sages. Okay, when they start talking about sage, that's Anunnaki. Okay, there's a strong, heavily Anunnaki influence over in India. Okay, a lot of those sages in India are Anunnaki. So when you start hearing them start to talk about certain types of people or certain types of beings with certain things with titles or certain people with titles, you got to understand that this shit really does go all the way back to the cosmos. And the shit's so deep that with the Vatican, what I found out about the Vatican was, and I don't know if the tour guide knew this, because he felt like he couldn't really go into, like he was about to go in, but then he was catching himself because of the other people, and he didn't want to offend anyone, because I know he was about to go in. He was just really happy that somebody actually was there that knew what the hell time it was on a deeper level. He was really excited about that. And I actually got his number, and we're going to talk some more, because this guy's a scholar when it comes to the history. He's also he also is a scholar in linguistics and the whole nine. So he's really, really intelligent, really knows his shit, really knows about the history of Mexico. Okay, especially as it pertains to these complexes that are all throughout Mexico. There are pyramids all throughout Mexico, big ones and small ones, all throughout Mexico. That's why the United States hates Mexico so much, because there is where you're going to find your true history about a lot of different things. You're going to find it there. And it's all throughout the Americas. Even the Aztecs, when I was talking to a couple of tour guides here, they're breaking it down, telling me, nobody seems to know the origins of the Aztecs. I thought that was deep. And they said they're believed to have come from the northern part of the continent of North America. Well, then that would be Turtle Island. So the Aztecs came down, and they're the ones who took over and conquered the Tehacatans. They took over them. But the Spaniards came around and took over the Aztecs. They're the ones who gave the Aztecs their name, but the Aztecs gave the Tehacatans their name. Does this sound familiar to you? Who are we currently being reclassified by right now? Does this seem familiar to you? Because they have reclassified us as black, and there's no such thing as a black person. It doesn't exist. You don't identify a person by a color, let alone identify a person by a color they are not, because we're not black. This is black. See this right here? This is black. Are you this? If you're not this, then why are you calling or identifying yourself by this? We're not black. We're native indigenous. And it's time that we start addressing ourselves as who we really are and standing on that shit. And with you understanding that you're indigenous and you understanding that you have ties to the land that you live on, then you got to remove yourself from this corporation called the United States of America the United States. Remove yourself so that system does not reclassify you. This has been going on, guys. This has been going on for a very long time. Like, there's damn near nothing new under the sun. We have been reclassified. They have been reclassified by their conquerors. We were reclassified by our conquerors with the help of Moorish conquistadors. I'm going in on that because I went a lot deeper than what I was being told in the books. I went deeper. I went beyond Noble Drew Ali and started going deeper to find out about these different Moors. I went deeper. I'm going deeper than that now. I'm going way deep. Stuff that you can't get access. Well, you might be able to get access to some of this stuff via the books, but some of the stuff, if you really want to get deeper into it, you start doing that meditation. You start talking to them native indigenous ancestors, and they're going to tell you really what it is. Okay? So I'm not here to offend any Moors, but they also need to understand that there were some different ones that were around that did not have the best interest for our people. That needs to be understood. So now I got to ask them, okay, so what type of Moor are you? Which one are you? Are you the one that is for your captor or the captor of our people? Are you that guy or that woman? Do you even know? Do you really even have ties to the Moorish bloodline? Do you really have ties to that? This is why I tell people you got to tap into your ancestry to find out the truth. And they're going to be ones to tell you what it really is. I'm not going by what someone just says to me and says, oh, you're this. No, I'm not doing that. Nah, bruh, I need to go back and go to them ancestors' mind to find out. Because one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to claim anyone that has participated in the enslavement of my own people, of my family line. I don't want to claim that. Because there's karma that comes with that. I'm telling y'all what I know. I went through the process, the ancestral elevation. That's a program that I got to download from Source on, called the Ancestral Elevation Program, where literally we go in and we begin to start clearing out the actual karma between you and the living relatives that you have, and also the ancestors that date back to your bloodline. Now, we're getting information and messages and all types of things that's happening while that process is taking place. And I'm getting a lot of information from people that I've helped about their bloodline that goes all the way back there. It goes so far back, it goes all the way back to your ancient cosmic ancestors. All indigenous tribes have access to portals. So those ancient ancestors, your cosmic ancestors, can actually re-enter back in. This is why I said to you guys a long time ago, where we've always been cosmic. We've always been cosmic. And you've heard me mention that all of us have courts of these ancient cosmic ancestors. We have access to guides in our bloodline, because some of the guides are also our ancient ancestors. So not only when I did my elevation, not only did those ancestors get elevated, but the guides that are also a part of my bloodline also become elevated. There is so much more to you than what you know, and you're so much more vast than what you know. And yet we tend to get caught up in this, you want to lock yourself into where you are in 3D. You got to learn how to balance the two. You have to balance between the cosmic and the 3D realm. You have to balance the two. Okay? You have to. We have got to really get away from this programming. And I'm just going to say it, and it's not a diss. I'm not dissing anyone. Let me make sure I'm clear. But this has to be stated. We have got, and that goes for the Mexicans too. We have got to deprogram ourselves from a colonization mindset, a Europeanized mindset. There's one brother out here that I really, really enjoy him. that's really breaking stuff down for us as it pertains to our health. His name is Yaki Awaken. I'm going to reach out to that brother because I would actually like to do a live with him. And he's breaking down a lot of things as it pertains to our body. And, you know, people have been saying to me, why I'm really afraid for him. I'm really scared for him, this, that, and the third. I said, no, y'all don't get it. It's all about timing. It's about timing. See, what I'm realizing is there's a lot of shit that happened during certain periods of time. But what I'm realizing is that a lot of our people did not recognize that there's a time and a place to reveal certain information, or a time and a place to come out with it on a much more larger public scale. There was a time and a place for that. So a lot of our people, a lot of our soldiers, a lot of our people, good people, fell because they didn't understand that aspect of it, that it's about timing. And so someone asked me yesterday, they said, I'm scared for that brother. I said, that brother's heavily protected, number one, so I wouldn't be afraid. I would not be worrying about that. That's number one. And number two, he's on his path. You are looking at someone that is on his path, like he was born and destined to do what he does. Period. And you can't do nothing but respect that. When you're destined, see, that's the issue here. See, when you're destined to do something, your ancestors and your bloodline, the guys of your bloodline, or whoever you're a part of, is going to protect you so you can do your mission because you're on path.